From space, the blue world of Mon Calamari is an oceanic oasis, yet the planet has a history of remarkable turmoil. Even its name is in dispute. Official starlogs list it as Mon Calamari, while its natives prefer to call it Dak in their native language. Its sea is roiled with life, from vast algal areas to schools of razor-toothed krakenas. While the planet is known for its two intelligent species, the goggle-eyed Mon Calamari and the tentacle-faced Quarren, in truth, it boasts several more, including the cetacean Walladons and the hive-minded jellies known as Mwapa, or also the creatures known as amphihydrus. Only island chains break the surface of the shallow oceans. As mentioned before, the two dominant species within the planet are the Mon Calamari and the Quarren. The Mon Calamari are an idealistic, noble people, a positive, forward-thinking species with cultural goals of justice and fairness. They have established themselves as leaders and instigators of galactic harmony. The Mon Calamari, often called Moncals, are an amphibious species with salmon-colored skin, webbed hands, high domed heads, and huge fish-like eyes. Similar to other amphibians, they are born in tadpole stage, complete with gills. As they grow into adulthood, they develop lungs. These lungs are quite powerful and enable them to remain underwater for long periods of time. Quarren have leathery orange skin, turquoise eyes, and suction-cupped fingers. Quarren have the ability to alter their skin color, but this is done only during mating rituals. Since tentacles sprout from the lower half of their faces, they have earned the not-so-flattering nickname of squidheads, by which they are known to outsiders. While the Mon Calamari are dreamers and idealists, the Quarren are more practical and conservative. Relations between the Quarren and the Mon Calamari have not always been peaceful. Quarren lived at greater depths than Mon Calamari, and for many generations, they lived in completely separate and isolated communities. The Mon Calamari are beings thriving on both land and sea, while the Quarren are inhabitants of the deep oceans, only occasionally surfacing with great difficulty. These divergence in habitats shape their contrasting paths of development. Being able to harness resources from two realms, the Mon Calamari flourished, cultivating a vibrant culture. They harnessed the bounties of the sea and the land, fish and algae from the waters, fire and wood from the land. They developed writing, manufacturing, charted the stars, and mapped the ocean, nurturing a rich, advanced civilization. The Quarren, however, were not so lucky. By living in the depths of the oceans, they were unable to harness fire. They were unable to build anything save the most primitive and simple tools. They had no paper, no ink, no writing. Their culture was unable to advance. They remained savages, while their cousins acquired civilization. Though the Moncals mostly ignored the Quarren, even then they were pacifists who felt no need of conquest. The Quarren were unable to ignore the Mon Calamari. From their oceanic homeland, they saw how the Moncal developed ships of excellent quality, almost confused as something magical, that sank in their territory. Moncals, clad in armor, dove into the deepest parts of the ocean, where even the Quarren feared to venture. The Quarren grew to fear the Mon Calamari, then to hate them. Unlike their sad-eyed cousins, the Quarren were warlike and proud. Unable to tolerate their cousin's success, they attacked and were repeatedly defeated. It was almost a kind of mass insanity. Though badly outmatched by the Moncal's superior technology and tactics, the Quarren kept on fighting. They always lost. Countless thousands, hundreds of thousands died. And not only the warriors, all Quarren, young and old, joined in the fight. The Quarren fought their brothers until they were all but extinct. Unable to reason with the Quarren, the Mon Calamari, for the Quarren's own protection, began imprisoning captured warriors on floating prison ships. The fighting dragged on for weary decades, even Quarren women and children joining the combat and imprisonment, until no free Quarren remained. In the aftermath of the war, the victorious Mon Calamari faced a dilemma. Over 1 million Quarren prisoners in the custody. Releasing them risked reigniting the conflict, as the Quarren could resume their attacks, while extermination was a horrible option. Seeking an alternative to perpetual warfare, the Mon Calamari embarked on an unprecedented social experiment to civilize the Quarren. The first step was controversial. Quarren youths were separated from their parents and transferred to education centers. There, Mon Calamari instructors, often under threat of force, taught the young Quarren subjects like literature, science, mathematics, philosophy, and the foundations of civilization. They imparted knowledge on construction, medicine, and even warfare, without attempting to instill their peaceful philosophies or erase the Quarren's animosity. Years later, the educated Quarren youth reunited with their parents and were released. The Mon Calamari's strategy, though ruthless, proved brilliant. The generational divide was stark. The elders perceived their offspring as brainwashed monsters, while the youth viewed the elders as hopeless savages. Having learned to respect the Mon Calamari's decision to educate rather than exterminate their enemies. Conflict was inevitable and the outcome predictable. Within 15 years, armed with the knowledge bestowed by the Mon Calamari, the younger Quarren had defeated their elders and assumed control of their civilization. Within 2 decades, they had established diplomatic relations with the Mon Calamari, trading their labor for technology. Despite lingering feelings of inferiority, the two species amalgamated within 30 years, forging an uneasy yet enduring peace. The Mon Calamari social experiment had succeeded, transforming enemies into allies through the power of education and shared knowledge. After establishing a political relationship, the Mon Calamari encouraged the Quarren to collaborate with them in the pursuit of space exploration and efforts to improve technology. This partnership was mutually beneficial, as the Mon Calamari contributed their ideas and concepts, while the Quarren provided raw materials for realizing these visions. Within their water-based society, Mon Cal science grew out of simple fish farming and kelp cultivation on their ocean-covered world. Initially, their scientific and technological advancement progressed at a slow pace because it was difficult to obtain necessary materials from the planet. This problem was later solved with the assistance of the Quarren, who lived at the greatest depths of the Mon Calamari's oceans. Thus began their symbiotic relationship with the Quarren, who had the ability to mine minerals found only on those depths. Together, the two species constructed impressive spaceships and massive floating cities that dominated the oceans. These vast cities extended far below the water surface, serving as hubs of learning, culture, and governance. While the Mon Calamari preferred the upper levels with more natural light, the Quarren resided in the lowest levels, embracing the cool security of the depths. This division reflected the Quarren's cultural identity as a pragmatic people, reluctant to trust or embrace novel ideas or other concepts. Their history reveals a people who don't dream of brighter tomorrows, but hold fast to remembered yesterdays, feeling a deep connection to the sea rather than a desire for space exploration. Nevertheless, Many Quarren followed their Mon Calamari neighbors off-planet, as they were capable of living on land as long as they could maintain moist skin. However, as the Quarren benefited from the discoveries and achievements of the Mon Calamari, they became increasingly dependent on their counterparts, leading to numerous frictions and tensions within their agreement. Overall, the relationship between the Quarren and the Mon Calamari has been a complex journey, marked by initial conflicts, forced assimilation attempts, and eventual symbiosis accompanied by power imbalances and tensions. While they have achieved a degree of coexistence and cooperation, their relationship and legacy remains fraught with challenges.